Hey, what's going on, FG fam? Welcome to another video here, and obviously yesterday I posted my mock draft. If you didn't get a chance to take a look at that, you can here, so you can see how many wrong picks I actually got. So many. But the first round of the draft is over, and we're going to take a look at that here. As you can see, they are on the screen. I don't know if you can actually read them. Sometimes my Streamlabs likes to record a little wonky and weird, but anyways, we're going to go over all of the picks anyways. At pick number 1, no doubt it was going to be Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, I'm going to give the Jags an A+ here. I mean, the only way that they don't get an A+ is if they don't pick Trevor Lawrence, and they did. So they get an A+ here. They get their guy, their quarterback of the future, their savior of the universe. All of that is on their team now. The New York Jets came up next, and they took Zach Wilson out of BYU. Now, that all indications were that they were going to take Zach Wilson. I would say this is a B. It's going to depend on how they can develop Zach Wilson, what they can put in front of him, but we'll see how that goes later on in this first round. Wink, wink. So Trey Lance was the pick for the 49ers at number 3. A lot of people thought maybe Mac Jones. It was all a smoke screen. Trey Lance is the pick. They're going to keep Jimmy G. I believe they're going to sit Trey Lance for maybe an entire season, unless the season goes south. Maybe they start to play him later in the season, as of course they got this pick from Miami via Houston. So let's see here. Trey Lance, all the physical talents, of course, he's got to sit, and because he's not an impact player right away, and they took him at pick 3, I'm probably going to give it a B+, but I think it's pretty good. They went up, they got their guy. I think Trey Lance has a lot more high upside than Zach Wilson does, but he also has a lower ceiling. It's a boomer bust pick, but I trust this coaching staff to make it work for them. At number 4, the Falcons did, I guess, the only thing that they could do, take BPA. They didn't believe in any of the quarterbacks left out of Mac Jones or Justin Fields, and that's completely fine. They took Kyle Pitts, the tight end, slash slot receiver, slash outside receiver from the Florida Gators. I mean, look, the guy had 19 receptions from the tight end spot. He had 12 from both the slot and the outside last year, so he can do it all. Considering they're going to lose Julio Jones, not a bad replacement. Julio Jones will likely net them picks for next year. So honestly, I'm entirely fine with this. I'm going to give them a B+ because I don't know that Pitts is entirely what they needed, but it was the best player they could get at this spot. Number 5 was Jamar Chase out of LSU, the big wide receiver. The Bengals really should have gone Penei Sewell here. You want to protect your investment in Joe Burrow, but instead they got him his pass catcher from a couple of seasons ago at LSU, the guy he threw 20 touchdowns to. And, you know, that's okay. This would probably be the second best graded thing in my mind, but they should have taken Sewell with this pick. So for that reason, I think it's about a B for them. But Jamar Chase really does have all of the talent in the world. That left the Miami Dolphins up there at 6, and I was praying that Penei Sewell would be going to South Beach, but of course, they did exactly what I mocked them to do. Disappoint me and take Jalen Waddle. Now, Jalen, gosh, if I can speak, Jalen Waddle is not a bad player at all, but it is not that I am knocking Jalen Waddle, but again, Tua really needs an offensive line. There was no offensive lineman on the Miami Dolphins roster graded above a 67 from PFF last year, and that guy was actually Eric Flowers, who we traded away. Really could have used some O-line help. Penei Sewell would have done it. We could have gotten a receiver later in this draft, and we'll talk about that later. Penei Sewell then becomes the 7th overall pick to the Detroit Lions, who I believe are building the right way. They have a tackle already. They got Ragnow, of course, at center. Now they get Sewell. The Lions are building a pretty good O-line for Jared Goff, and maybe Jared Goff isn't the answer, but whoever is the answer is going to have an O-line already when he shows up in Detroit. Number 8, Carolina Panthers. Now, they shocked me here. I thought maybe Surtain could be the pick. Maybe Fields could be the pick. It was J.C. Horn out of South Carolina, so they take the first corner, and it was J.C. Horn. He's a great player in his own right. I like Surtain just a little bit more. Maybe a little bias, his dad being a Dolphin and all, but, good pick, which then put the Broncos out there. They took Pat Surtain. By the way, for grades, I'm giving the Dolphins a B for Waddle. I'm giving the Lions an A+ for Sewell. I'm giving the Panthers probably an A- for J.C. Horn, and the Broncos are going to get an A for Pat Surtain the second, because he's going to be a hell of a player for them, and I'm really glad that they kept him away from Dallas. Now, Dallas, at number 10, being pissed off that both of those corners were taken, they trade back a little bit in division. They trade to the Philadelphia Eagles. They pick up a couple of picks, and they give the Eagles pick number 10 to take Devonta Smith. Now, this is a good move for the Eagles. They've needed a big-time playmaking wide receiver. They get one here. I think this is an A move for the Eagles. I think that was a great move to jump over the Giants and get Devonta Smith, which, with the next pick, you can kind of tell that the Giants were kind of looking to get Devonta Smith, and they're a little mad that he wasn't there, so they trade back. They get a nice little haul from the Bears. This is the first time in the big-time draft era that the Giants are actually going to get a first-round pick from somebody moving up to get their pick. So it's a great move from the Giants to get a first rounder. The only team that traded down today to get a first rounder next year, but the Bears did it because they saw their future quarterback in Justin Fields. So I'm going to give the Bears some credit here with this pick. I'm going to give them a B+. I mean, they did give up a bunch, but they got their guy, and I think Justin Fields could be the best quarterback to ever don a Chicago Bear uniform. Now, it won't be difficult for him. I will say that. It won't be difficult. But the only thing that's going to make this difficult is the weapons on the offensive line that is already on the team. He's going to have to overcome some things because the Bears' offense is not that great. But he can make plays by himself. He's got the speed. He's got the arm. We'll see what he does over there. So Dallas trading down to 12 now. They're okay because defensive players did not go in the previous two picks, so they're completely fine. They get linebacker Micah Parsons, and I'm kind of cool with this pick because I don't really like Micah Parsons as a human being after he was in that whole hazing scandal thing at Penn State, so I don't like the Dallas Cowboys. So there's two things I can root against at once. So I'm not exactly angry that Micah Parsons goes to Dallas. I'm completely fine with that pick. As it works out for Dallas, obviously Van Der Esch always has his injury issues. Getting another guy that can do that flying all over the field with the speed that Parsons has, I think it's going to work out just fine for them. But I won't be rooting for either. LA Chargers come up and they make the best pick that they can. Obviously, I'm going to give Dallas probably like a B+ for Parsons. It's a good pick for them. They need defense for sure. But the Chargers come up at 13 and they get Justin Herbert exactly what he needs. They get him an offensive tackle in Rashawn Slater. This is an A+ pick for the Chargers. Slater, some think, is going to be better than Penei Sewell. And who knows, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. That's something we'll have to figure out in the future. But the fact of the matter is that the Chargers had a bottom O-line last year, and they're working to fix it, and that's good. They need to help out Herbert, protect your investment. The Jets then make a big trade up with the Vikings to go out and get Elijah Vera Tucker. I'm going to give the Jets an A for this move. I think it was a great trade up for them. They get the best interior O-lineman in the entire class, who could also move to tackle if they needed him to do it, but they've got Mekhi Becton. Now they have Vera Tucker. They are building pretty well on that O-line for Zach Wilson, who is going to need that to become maybe the best Jets quarterback of all time. Who knows? We'll see. These are ceilings, not exactly guarantees. But I like the pick there for Vera Tucker. Now, number 15, the Patriots sit there, and what do they get? They get exactly the kind of quarterback that they were looking for all along. Nick Saban, Bill Belichick connection. There's Mac Jones. He's a New England Patriot. It works out perfect. Kumbaya. They didn't even have to trade up to get him. I think it's a B-plus pick for New England just because I don't think Mac Jones is anything super special. But in New England, maybe he could be. They don't need a guy that's going to move around a lot. They just need a guy to throw some short, accurate passes and occasionally hit a deep one when the defense is sleeping, and Mac Jones can definitely do just that. Arizona Cardinals, they take Zaven Collins, and that is an absolute beast for the Arizona Cardinals. A great linebacker, maybe not touted as the best linebacker, but I think he could end up being the best linebacker in the class if given the right opportunity. But either way, the Cardinals needed just anything on defense, would have gotten them a good grade here. So I'm gonna give them a B+. I think it's a great pick for them, and they stood put to do it. The Raiders come up, and of course, in typical Mike Mayock, John Gruden fashion, they reach for a player that likely would have been available bottom first round, maybe early second round. They could have traded out of 17. They could have taken anything else, but they take tackle Alex Leatherwood out of Alabama, and to me, that's like the only C+ right now. I think Leatherwood's a pretty good tackle. You're going to have to coach him up quite a bit, but it's just where they take people. It's not that they're terrible players, it's where they take these guys. They could have traded down and picked up picks and gotten way more players for a team who has as many holes as the Raiders do. Now we go to the Miami Dolphins, and I mock Jalen Phillips to them, and they take Jalen Phillips, the first edge rusher in the draft class, the top edge rusher in the draft class projected. They get him. That's pretty good. I'm okay with this. I would have liked to have seen them take Penei Sewell. Maybe you move up, get a receiver. Maybe you take a receiver here. Maybe you still take Jalen Phillips here. Maybe you move into the back of the first round, take a receiver. Who knows? Jalen Phillips, I'm not all that upset about it. He is kind of the best edge rusher that they could have gotten in this draft class, so I'm okay with that. And I would say that's about a B+, maybe even A-. Washington football team, you have Jamin Davis out of Kentucky, and he is a hell of a fast linebacker. He is going to be very, very nice for Washington, adding speed to that defense and just a killer instinct. That defense is going to be absolutely just obliterating at times. And I think Washington is just doing a fantastic job at building an absolutely fearsome defense. I'm going to have to give them a B+ for this pick as well. I really liked it. So now the Giants, after moving back, picking up a first-round pick, they move all the way back, and they still take maybe a bit of a reach here. I don't really mind this pick as much. I think they could have moved down a little bit more with somebody else maybe who was willing to move up, but maybe they had no suitors. They took Kadarius Toney, the wide receiver out of Florida. And I get a lot of people saying that other receivers could have been picked there. Maybe Rashad Bateman, maybe Elijah Moore would have fit in there nicely. But they've got that big guy who's going to jump and going to win 50-50 balls in Kenny Golladay. What the Giants need, if they weren't going to go after offensive line in this draft class, is the guy that they can throw a quick pass to, that can make a move or two and take off and be gone. And I think Kadarius Toney could be that guy. They need their next... Golladay is like their OBJ, Plaxico Burress type of guy, and what they need is the Victor Cruz type of guy who's going to make those little plays. He's going to maybe catch a slant and take it to the house. Maybe he takes a screen play, makes a couple of moves, and picks up 20 yards. That's what they're going to need, because if they're not going to solve that offensive line problem this year and they're going to try to develop their offensive line the way it is, they're going to need a guy that they can just dump a pass off to and get it going. So I don't mind the Kadarius Toney fit. I just mind where they picked him. I give the pick a B. Kwity Paye goes to the Indianapolis Colts, the edge rusher out of Michigan. I think it's good value at this pick for the Colts. Kwity Paye is a great edge rusher. I think he's going to do just fine in Indianapolis. It's going to add to an already good Indianapolis defense. I feel like they should have taken Christian Darrisaw here. They really could have used to replace Anthony Costanzo and kept that Colts O-line intact and gelling, and Wentz is going to need that. So for that reason, because I think they should have gone tackle, I'm just going to give the Kwity Paye pick a B. Still a good player at this pick, but not where I would have gone had I been the GM there. Now, Caleb Farley is the pick at 22 for the Tennessee Titans, and Caleb Farley is a really good corner. There's a few concerns, obviously, about him. He had another back surgery, and that is a concern. His health is the concern here, but I think Farley is an incredible corner, and the Titans really, really need that because offenses are going to be getting better in their division, not worse. The Colts, we'll see what they do on offense. Obviously, Jacksonville's offense is going to get a little bit better, I think, with Trevor Lawrence, so they're going to need to be able to stop some of these teams, and especially if they want to beat KC ever, they're definitely going to need corners. So Caleb Farley is a help for them. They could have gone Greg Newsome here. I don't mind the Farley pick. I'm going to give it a B. Vikings. Genius move. They trade all the way down to 23 with the Jets. They pick up some draft picks, couple of thirds, but it's free for them. And they still get Christian Darrisaw, probably the player they would have taken at 14. So an absolute genius move by the Minnesota Vikings. I give this pick an A+. They needed O-line. They got it. The next two picks, these are quite interesting. We got the Steelers with Najee Harris, which I totally bet on them taking Najee Harris, which is perfect for them. They're going to need that. Obviously, they're going to need some O-line later, but Najee Harris is a guy who can bowl over people. They're going to need a guy like that. They no longer have James Conner on roster, who was their big power back. So Najee Harris can be that lead back for them, can take maybe a little bit of pressure off of Ben Roethlisberger so he doesn't have to throw the ball 50 times a game. And I'm going to give that pick an A-. I really like the Najee Harris fit for them. Now, Jacksonville, this threw a little monkey wrench out there. Travis Etienne. I have to believe that this had something to do with Trevor Lawrence. Maybe talked about before the draft. Maybe Trevor Lawrence wanted to make sure Travis Etienne would come along with him or something. I don't know. For him to get him fully on board with being a Jaguar. But Travis Etienne is a bit of a head scratcher. I mean, Robinson is a very good running back for them. They also signed Carlos Hyde. I don't know. I'm really feeling a little weird about this pick. So, I mean, for that, I'm going to give it a C+, just because I'm super perplexed. But that doesn't mean Travis Etienne isn't an incredible player. And maybe it's just what Lawrence wanted, honestly. All right, Cleveland Browns. We have Greg Newsome II out of Northwestern, the second Northwestern player selected. Obviously, Mike Greenberg on the telecast went absolutely wild with two Northwestern people in the first round. But Newsome's an amazing corner, and he could really help the Browns out. They're going to need it if they want to make their way through the AFC, stop all of these high-powered offenses. The Titans obviously scored a ton of points last year. Baltimore's trying to make their offense a little bit better, as we'll talk about in a second. And obviously, KC's offense is already there. So they're going to have to get them corners ready, and that's what these teams are doing that think that they're going to see themselves there late year. So Greg Newsome, I think that's a B+ pick. I really like him. Baltimore Ravens take one of my favorite receivers in the draft class, and somebody that I feel maybe if the Dolphins would have went Penei Sewell, Jalen Phillips could have maybe traded up here into the back of the round and taken Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. And I think Bateman's going to be a really nice receiver in this league. I don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to have enough passes to feed to guys like him, Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews, all these guys, but Rashad Bateman sure is a hell of a talent, and I respect the Baltimore Ravens for trying to get Lamar Jackson more weapons so that he can build up the offense a little bit quicker, maybe throw the ball a little bit more, and maybe get better at passing. I'm going to give that pick an A-. I really like it a lot. Now, I got to be 100% honest here. I've done no work on defensive end Peyton Turner, but he was the pick for the Saints at number 28. I have no idea about him. Somebody let me know in the comment section below. Is he really that good? This is a complete head scratcher to me. I did not see the Saints going in this direction at all whatsoever. And I don't know. I got to give this one a C-. This is my least favorite pick of the first round just because I think they could have gone in a number of different directions than Peyton Turner. Green Bay Packers. Now, of course, the news came out about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wants out. He wants no part of Green Bay now. He says he is not coming back to Green Bay. So, if that's the case, why would the Packers ever pick up a wide receiver in this draft? Let's get Eric Stokes, the corner, out of Georgia. So if Jordan Love really is going to be the one taking over, he can't complain. There's no reason to get a receiver. Obviously, by them not getting a receiver, in my opinion, they're okay with Aaron Rodgers not coming back because, honestly, they should have taken a receiver. That is the biggest thing that made them not win the NFC Championship game. Aaron Rodgers threw 3 straight passes in the red zone to Davante Adams. They all didn't work out, and he was double covered on all of them. And why? Because he was the only freaking option. They need another option over there in Green Bay. I don't know why they don't see it. But Eric Stokes, the corner out of Georgia, he ran a 4.25, I believe. He's super fast. I mean, he could be a very nice player on the Green Bay defense. Maybe they think that will help them stop the array of weapons in Tampa Bay should they play them again in the playoffs this year, but they're not going to do that without Aaron Rodgers, I can tell you that. The Buffalo Bills come up and, I guess they feel like they can come back with the same team and be just as good, and maybe they can. And Greg Rousseau, honestly, is one of my sleepers in this draft. He was a guy that was supposed to go pretty high at the start of the whole process, and then things broke down for him, and then he had a horrible pro day, and then all this other crap. But you know what? It's hard to replace production. The guy had 16 and a half sacks as a true freshman. The guy's an absolute freaking monster if you can coach him up, and honestly, the Buffalo Bills is a great landing spot for him to get coached up. That is a good defense, or was a good defense for a good amount of time there a couple of years ago. Last year, their defense wasn't as good, but can still be good, and if he can get coached up over there in Buffalo, he can be an absolute monster on the edge, and I'm a little scared of it. I'm not going to lie. I feel like that Buffalo Bill pick for Greg Rousseau, I'm going to give it a B+. I might be nuts, but Greg Rousseau was one of my favorite players in this class, honestly. Baltimore Ravens at 31 with their second pick and as many as 5 picks get Jason Owe out of Penn State in the pick that they got with the trade of Orlando Brown. So they bring in Jason Owe, and he's obviously super fast. He didn't have a single sack last year, but he was creating some pressure, creating some havoc, and that's what you want to see. Somebody on the telecast made the point that Danielle Hunter had like 1.5 sacks his last year in college football and is an amazing player, and maybe Jason Owe can do that too. But honestly, the Ravens here, maybe a bit of a luxury pick. They can definitely use some edge rushing. I really like them attempting it here. They're taking the athleticism, which isn't bad. Athleticism is never a bad selection. I'm going to give them a B there. Tampa Bay Buccaneers then had a complete luxury pick. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the only team in the salary cap era to bring back all 22 Super Bowl starters, which is absolutely unheard of. They also brought back Antonio Brown. They have their top 16 offensive snap getters last year coming back. Their top 22 defensive snap getters coming back next year. They have basically everyone coming back to try to repeat for Tom Brady, and to be able to make a luxury pick of Joe Tryon out of Washington, last year's Washington Husky. It's an absolute luxury pick, and it's somebody who can add to Jason Pierre-Paul, Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, all these guys that were coming at Pat Mahomes last year. Chiefs decided, you know what? We're going to go ahead and we're going to shore up our own line with a bunch of trades and a signing of Joe Thuney. And the Bucs combat that by taking a young edge rusher. They can bring him in as a rotational piece if he does work out in his rookie year and they see that he's actually doing well on his snaps. rotate them in if you get to that point again. The Bucks and the Chiefs are both playing it like they're going to be in the Super Bowl again next year, and you know what? They just might be. Honestly, they just might be. It's hard to kind of argue against it. Now, the funny thing is, there are a lot of people that are still going to be on the board. And to me, this is crazy that Jeremiah Owusu is in here. Jock, as they like to call him. Christian Barmore did not get selected. He is still out there. There's some valuable players that are going to be there at the top of the second round. Elijah Moore, of course, did not get selected. Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. Landon Dickerson. Javonte Williams. Azeez Ojulari, who I mocked to get selected, is going to be there. Trayvon Moehrig is going to be there. Terrace Marshall Jr. is going to be there as well. So a lot of really good players are going to be available at the start of this second round, and I'm really, really hoping that the Dolphins can make some decent selections here and bring some good players in. Who knows? Who knows what is going to happen? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. What were your draft grades for round one? I'd like to know. If you guys do want to pick up any RAZE energy, I definitely have a code in the description below to get some FG15 to get 15% off your order. I appreciate you if you do that because that supports the channel. Also, we will definitely be back with Marlins franchise tomorrow if that's something you're into. Make sure you guys drop a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new to the channel for the love of franchise content because that is really what we do here and we can build a winner together. You guys all have a great day and I will see you soon.